right now. All right, perfect. Well, guys, hey, welcome to the Drag-N-Drive Show, episode 32. I think Eric was telling me the other day, maybe my counts were off. So let's go back through and adjust that stuff. So we're going to go with episode 32 tonight, presented by Summit Racing. Guys, this week we're covering a ton of stuff. We've got the remaining events for 2023. There's only four. Can you believe we're down to four? There are upcoming events for 2024 that we're already seeing dates locked in for. We've got Drag-N-Drive World Champion updates with a brand new leader and a top 10 list shakeup, and then a recap of events over the last 3 weeks. So let's get this thing started. We'll hit the show intro and then right into this. Guys, I'm here with Dave Teresi, Mr. Energy.
Oh, yeah, I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm
Oh, we're looking this. We're at 6 something. That's
Excited you're here. It's going to be a ton of fun. Great weather.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited about this right here. All right, guys. It has been confirmed. This is actually episode 33, not 32. But hey, that's the way it goes when you're doing as much as we're doing here. I want to start off by saying my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Drag-N-Drive Show and Drag-N-Drive News on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm a Drag-N-Drive statistician, if that doesn't sound too weird, and a promoter. And then my co-host is over there. Eric, tell them who you are and what you do.
I am Eric White. I am co-host for Drag-N-Drive Show, Drag-N-Drive News. Kind of help out with anything Drag-N-Drive addiction related. And when I'm not doing that, I run my channel, 815 LSX Swaps. And I've just kind of fired up Motorsports Paparazzi again after one guy's garage. Got some photos there, so started posting there again as well.
Dude, and a top 2 or 4% content creator on Facebook the last 3 weeks. Is that right?
Yep, it was top 2% 3 weeks ago and top 4% the last 2 weeks. So,
Dude, awesome. So if you are not following it, the reason I say this, if you're not following Eric, you need to. Tons of great content that are coming out. I see a lot of our friends in here making comments. Guys, I want to start the show by saying thank you for those. Thank you to all of our race car friends that make comments in the chats, make comments on our posts and share them and hit the like button and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys could do that as you do it now, then hit that share button so all of your friends know that we are here. I just want to say thank you. Without you guys, this wouldn't be nearly as much fun. I'll tell you that much. And then I want to say thanks to our sponsors for their continued support: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk Classifieds. You guys have made it possible for us to attend almost double-digit events this year. We're almost to 10 events. We'll be at 10 events by the end of next week. I guess if I include the Summit Racing Midwest Drag Race Series, that would put us around 11 events that we've attended this year already. So, and another few to go. So it's exciting, dude. I'm telling you, we're living this drag and drive life more than most folks get to, and I'm so excited about that. So let's jump into remaining events for 2023 because it feels so weird. I mean, we started the year talking about we were in the 20s, and then it was like, hey, now it was like 31 events, and there were 32 events that will be happening in the year 2023, which is insanely. It's just insane to think that there is that much growth from 2022 with 11 events to 32 events in 2023. So that's pretty crazy. 3 times the growth over one single year. There were a lot of events that we learned from, a lot of events that maybe weren't as prepared as they thought they needed to be, and then a lot of events that have really shown what a real promoter can do in the face of competition, because there's still several events that have sold out in record time, and it's just amazing. So the one event that is happening right now, that's right, one is happening as we speak. They're probably racing right now. Street Machine Magazine Drag Challenge in Australia is going on right now. And you know, those guys, they're kind of They're like on the other side of the world from us, so it's morning time over there. So it's probably day 3 of racing right now. One thing that I like about their event so much is the difference in cars that you see as you're following along to that. So you can actually follow the drag challenge on Facebook. That's where I find most of the information for that. And then you can also go to streetmachinemagazine.au, I think, and get all this get all the info there as well. So the current fastest 3 cars, they actually do kind of like what a lot of the tracks are doing here now. They're doing a quarter mile of one day somewhere and then an eighth mile at another track. But Mark Drew is in the lead of the entire event with a 7:4:01 on the quarter mile day on day 1, and then a 4:9:26 on day 2. And then Mark Whitla is second with a 7:4:73 and a 4:9:38. And then Brandon Zito with a 7:78, 7:778. 3 sevens and an 8. I don't know, and a 5:168. One thing that I wanted to call out those times for too is we're seeing a lot of 7-second cars. That is definitely taken up one class of car that we're seeing a whole bunch of is mid 7-second cars, and these are even some of the lower 7-second cars, and then 4s. Until last year we had never had, or really until maybe earlier, yeah, it was last year at Miles of Mayhem, we had not had a 4-second eighth mile pass submitted to a Drag-N-Drive event, and so now obviously we're seeing that all the time. Now I will say this: if you're running 7s, you're running 4s, right? But we never turned in any 4-second stuff. So take it with a grain of salt. I know people are going to be correcting me all over the place in this, but listen, when you are running an eighth mile only event, that's the first time we're seeing 4s. So shut it. I don't want to hear it. Okay. So I'm excited about that. So Street Machine Drag Challenge runs until Friday. They are going, like I said, racing right now. And so we should have a full update. I don't know if we'll have it on the Drag-N-Drive News on Saturday morning, but we'll definitely have it for next week and what that will do to the world champion points. I don't feel like there's any racers that will be on that list that are also on a US or Sweden list that would hurt or change the top 10, not hurt, but change the top 10. So we'll see what that does. Maybe there's a racer in there that snuck in that I haven't seen. I truly don't know yet. We're going to talk about Drag-N-Drive World Champion points and then all of that series here in just a minute as well. The next event that I'm attending is next weekend in Ferris, Texas at Extreme Motorsports Park for the final race of the season for the Summit Racing Midwest Drag Race Series. That's right. Not Midwest Drags, Midwest Drag Race Series, pro mods and real race cars and all that stuff. Cars, well, I say real race cars. We drive real race cars on the street, but these guys race real race cars at the track. So there'll be a lot of stuff going on with that. I'm leaving on Thursday, so Wednesday night's show may be a little shorter just because of me packing up and being gone again, because you guys know I've been gone quite a bit the last few weeks. So we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. So that's coming up. That is the season finale for them. And really the hunt is still on. Like there's still, I think, 2 possibilities for folks to take over the lead at this last race. So it should be pretty interesting. Again, I don't follow regular drag racing that much. So this is a whole new learning aspect of pro mods and, super comp and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know all the names of all the classes, but I'm getting there. So we're gonna take the next 10 days and learn about all that. So if I do have the chance to get on the microphone again, I can speak with authority and know a little bit of knowledge. So you ought to check into flights into Dallas, man. I think you'd have a lot of fun at that event. Maybe we could get you to fly in on Thursday and then you fly home on Sunday or something. I don't know. See if that's available out of Chicago.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. And then Drop the Hammer was supposed to start this weekend. Sadly, Mother Nature has reared her head and they're going to postpone that event due to weather. Now, obviously, if it was going to start on the 13th, they just made that announcement about 2 hours ago. So we'll have to see kind of how that plays out. We'll have more details as that becomes available. If they postpone that to, next week or the week after or 3 weeks from now, I don't know. Or if they're going to postpone it till 2024, you guys can follow the channel and all the Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. We'll have updates for that event as well, coming out as soon as we know anything. And then next weekend, sadly, I'm going to miss Death Week, but I don't know if I could be gone another 10 days, man. My wife may may strangle me. So Death Week starts next weekend, the 21st, and runs to the 29th. This is the longest running drag and drive event ever hosted. Everything has typically stayed within a week. This is 9 days of awesomeness. So it actually starts on the 20th. I apologize, with registration and testing. So looks like Dan Chandler here is saying looks like spring for Drop the Hammer. So great to see Dan at Back to the Streets. It was awesome. And then Jay Blanchard here confirming JWire Solutions is his company, and he's one of the sponsors. Springtime for Drop the Hammer. So that'll be cool to move an event from late in the year to early in the year. We always know those do well. So we're going to talk about 2024 events, so I can add that to the list as we go forward too. Now I know they'll have some, they'll have to figure out dates and tracks and all that kind of stuff, but it'll be nice to know that now moving forward that we'll have another event early in the season. All right, back to Death Week. I don't know if you guys saw, but if you don't follow Carl Bright, you need to. He's got a whole new design on the El Camino for this event, but they're going to start October 20th and 21st at Wild Horse Pass in Chandler, Arizona. So I'm going to give you guys a list of tracks and dates for racing. During this time, they're going to be driving all over this area. So if you want to follow, just go find Death Week on Facebook. October 20th and 21st, they're going to race at Wild Horse Pass in Chandler, Arizona. Then October 23rd, they're racing at Barona Drags in Lakeside, California. Then October 25th, they're at Famosa Dragway in McFarland, California. Then October 27th, they are in Las Vegas. So if you can tell, they're driving all over Arizona, California. Now we're in
Nevada.
Yeah. Las Vegas, they're going to actually be at a NHRA event. I think they've got like an exhibition area where they're going to be able to park up front. I don't know if they'll be making passes or not, but it'd be super cool if they would allow them to do that. And then from Las Vegas to Wild Horse, I think they hit the Grand Canyon along the way, or from Lakeside to, from McFarland to Las Vegas, they hit the Grand Canyon. One of those two. So if you want to see a whole bunch of cool drag and drive cars at the Grand Canyon, you need to do that. I know our buddy Chris Story is going out there for Death Week to take pictures, which is going to be so awesome. And then I'm pretty sure Jesse Fox at 3G Video is going to go out and take pictures at Death Week as well. So look for some very, very high quality, amazing photos to be taken out that way. So that's going to be cool. And they'll wrap up October 29th at Wild Horse Pass again in Chandler, Arizona. This is really a neat event simply because it really is it's a step away from the normal drag and drive event, which starts on a Saturday or Sunday, ends on the next Friday, so everybody can get home. This is an event that is long. It's 1,900 plus miles. You're going to cover 2,000 miles just in the trip in your car. So it's going to be interesting to see what cars show up. There's a lot of people that are not probably going to bring their Plan A car that is on the limit all the time trying to win a class. Are they going to bring a Plan B or a more comfortable car? So it's going to be great to try and see what all comes out of Death Week, and then how that will affect future events. Because he's already got the Route 66 deal planned for 2024. Is it going to be another long event and things like that? See, Rich Guido saying Death Week will be an adventure for sure. That is an understatement. It's going to be really cool to see all of the folks come out, or all the folks go out there and enjoy that a week and a half. I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy. So I would think you'd have 2 weeks of time to take off to cover that. And then Southeast Street Meet, which is the last event of the season. I will be attending that one. And this is really going to be the event that is going to seal the first ever Drag and Drive World Champion. This is the event that somebody can come in, perform well, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, can perform well and actually take this world champion and win it at the last event of the season. So there's not even we're not even locked in yet. We have a points leader that is out in front by a considerable amount, but it is still, and I'll tell you guys how this can actually be overtaken in that whole segment. So Southeast Street Meet, first time to do an event with Devin and his team. I'm excited. I actually got to see Laura, got to meet Laura at Hot Rod Drag Week. So it was pretty cool to talk to her for a few minutes. And then obviously being in the Southeast, being 8th mile, there's going to be some really, really fast stuff. One of the first 4-second averages we ever had was at Southeast Street Meet in the spring. And so I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the fall, especially November weather. I mean, November 9th through 12th, this ought to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, it seems like a good place to be that time of year,
Oh, dude, I'm telling you.
especially where I'm at.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be
Compared to
cold
where you're
here.
at, yeah, yeah. We may need to see what a flight is for you to come out there to get you another few degrees there. What we got a Facebook user here, you guys that are watching this on the live stream says, who else got axe throwing, margaritas, and taco trucks, and big gold chains and pro wrestling style belts? No one. That's who Southeast Street Neat official. Going to be wild. So I want to say thanks to the Facebook user. That was me, Deb. Yeah. So when you guys see the Facebook user pop up on the screen, that is from the Drag-N-Drive Addicts Facebook group. For some reason, StreamYard makes you give approval every single time. So, and then Rich Guido here is asking, will Street Neat have the required car count to qualify? Yes, they have already capped that number for registration. Yep. And then Hargett Automotive and Performance, here's talking about their open house this weekend. Ryan, you'll have to let us know what city that's in. I can't remember. I think it's Evansville, Indiana. They have an open house car show, dyno shootout, burnout competition this weekend. That should be a crazy, crazy event. So that is your event.
I wonder how far that is from me.
I think it's south of Indianapolis. So it may be a little bit of a trip, but would definitely be worth it if you want to drive 6 or 8 hours. So
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's in the 4 to 6 hour range, it might not be too bad.
how fast are you willing to drive? NHRA stock here saying is Death Week sold out. Asking in case I won the lottery. I haven't heard an official count, but I do not think it is sold out yet. So if you win the lottery tonight or tomorrow or whatever, yeah, Evansville, Indiana for Hargett Performance. If you win the lottery tonight or tomorrow, please sign up and go to Death Week and tell us how awesome it is and buy a whole bunch of GoPros and all that kind of stuff. James Free said, "Let's go, I'll drive." So that is your event updates, except for the last event of the season that we will be attending. You know what that is?
Yes, I do. My
Are you,
favorite.
are you excited about this?
I'm very excited about this one.
Man, the more events I attend, the more excited I get about this. The first ever Drag-N-Drive award show presented by Summer Racing at PRI, December 7th through 9th. Y'all, we're doing this award show on Thursday at 11 a.m. So you've got to be there. You got to be there for this event. It's going to be one for the record book, even if it's small and we have this room that's the size of the podcast room I have right now. We're still going to be making Drag-N-Drive history there that day. It makes my blood pressure rise thinking about it because of how awesome it's going to be and how anxious I am about it, because this is going to be a step in the right direction for us, guys. I'm telling you, this is going to bring in a lot of opportunity for the community. You know, we have slowly grown over the years with sponsors and event sizes and participants and things like that. Well, I'm telling you, we've already seen more than 2,300 national event racers for 2023. 2,300. We didn't have that many all of 2022. That doesn't even include all of the regional events. That is just national level events. That's not including Death Week people and the Southeast Street Meet. 2,300 racers have come in, are part of the Drag-N-Drive community on a national level event. So they've all raced with us for a week. I mean, that's pretty crazy to me, and I love it. I love it. Crazy is the word of the night, I'm telling you.
Just want to say hey to Barbecue 5.0. First time here, so welcome. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, it's exciting to have new folks. See a lot of familiar faces, and it's always good to see all the new people. There were a lot of new names and faces that I had never seen at all of the events I just got back from, and we're going to talk about those here in just a minute. Let's talk about 2024 events if you want to, real quick.
I was just going to say one last thing about PRI. Just so you know, it's only 57 days away.
57 days away. If you're not following Eric, you would know that because he posted Eric Lutz's 57 Chevrolet today.
So 57's not that long. So
I know
we got a lot of stuff to prepare.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Revved Up Laser Works. Travis Wise is the man for helping us really design and pick out the trophies, dude. I'm telling you, he's crazy. So this is a good question here. We're going to talk about the Drag-N-Drive World Champion in a minute, but Hargett Automotive and Performance asked, Jay, I agree. What do I have to do to win the championship? I'm going to actually talk a little bit about that here in just a few minutes. So Ryan, stick around. You'll kind of get an idea. I'm not going to name names, but just know that you're within that range of folks that I'm talking about. Okay. So 2024 events, guys, we're already seeing a big list of these coming up. And we just talked about Drop the Hammer. That'll be happening this in the spring now. So I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna put it in as April, just because we don't know a date on that. I don't know when it could, when that season could open up there, but we'll say April, right? Let me get in here. So obviously, starting out the year, we are going to have a little bit of time with sick week. So that's January 28th through February 2nd. They've actually scooted it back or earlier in the year by about 2 weeks, or at least a week from last year, simply because there's the I think the Skag Power Sports deal that Drag Illustrated's putting on is down there, the pro shootout, and then you've got some other event in March down there too. So or the Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod is in March. So kind of moving around that. Again, same tracks. We got Orlando, South Georgia Motorsports Park, Bradenton. Where's the other one? That's 3. I don't know. There's one other track down there. I can't remember what it is. So going to be down there. I plan to be at that event. Have not submitted my media pass yet, but hopefully they'll let me in. And then we go from there to a tag team weekend here in the central part of the states with Cruise and Lose in Nebraska. Talked to Tyler Maggart yesterday or Saturday at race week about his event. They are actually on the same weekend as the circuit, which is so sad because I really wanted to attend Cruise and Lose this year. So it's an 8th mile event, April 19th through 21st. They are up around Lincoln, Nebraska. I-29 Raceway is where they will start that Friday. And then the circuit is also that Friday at Joplin, Missouri. We're doing a pre-party Thursday night. So plan on April 18th arriving to the Joplin, Missouri area, Gainesville. Dan Chandler reminds me of Sick Week. Gainesville is the other track for that one. So Cruise and Lose and the circuit, both April 19th through 24th. So or 21st, 2024. So actually, we have a question here about the circuit. Circuit 24, will there be a pre-register option for last year's participants? I'm glad you asked that. Yes. And we're going to do registration in mid-November. So kind of to answer that question too. So we are locking in the price for our 2023 price will also be the same for 2024, even though we are adding a track. So for pre-registered racers, right? So if you raced in 2023, you're going to get the same price you paid in 2023 for 2024. You'll get early registration opportunities. Then if you are on the early list or you registered last year and didn't race, you'll be provided, I'm going to say a mid-level early registration, right? You're going to get the same price as last year. Okay. So that, and then we'll open to other registration if there's even any spots available. So there is 150 spots is what we're going to do for 2024. And then we're racing in Joplin. And then we're racing, like say, in Rogersville or Ozark Raceway Park on Saturday. And then we're back to Joplin on Sunday. So Thursday night pre-party, Friday racing 11 to 5 most likely. And then we'll drive Route 66 to Springfield. We'll race there 11 to 5, and then we're going to do a racer party somewhere, a big party for everyone on Saturday night, and then back to Joplin racing on Sunday, and probably race 10 to 3 on Sunday, something like that. So that's kind of the plan as of right now. And again, registration will be in mid-November. And for everybody that raced last year, $225. For everybody that's going to race or that did not race last year, will be $300. And again, we're adding a track, and so that's why the increase in money. So, and more people means I need to buy more shirts, all that kind of stuff. So, I see Red Hat Scotty here is asking for the QPS Low Buck Challenge. Who's in? That is a challenge that he put out last year for a $1,200 car. And Nico Cristoferi built an entire car for $1,200. LS swapped it, everything, pulled it out of there's a tree growing through the dash or through the grill of it, pulled it out, got the car running, and has now done 3 race weeks with it since building it for the circuit. So it's pretty cool. He didn't make it to the circuit because the first block spit a rod out the side of it as he was driving down the interstate. But he has built it, and it competed this year, ran 11s, I think, this year at race week. So pretty awesome. So Michael Baker, I want to say thanks. He is super happy about that. Nice job. Thank you very much. We're working hard on that and working hard on all this Drag-N-Drive addiction stuff too. So it's pretty awesome. So we talked about Drop the Hammer being moved back to springtime. We don't know what that means, springtime. And then Six Summer moves us till June. Now, I know there are going to be events that pop up in May. I just don't know those yet. I haven't seen anybody posting or dates or anything like that. So Nico here says he ran 1151 at 118 miles an hour in a car that he put together for, say, less than $3,000. So that's pretty fun. Six Summer, June 9th through 14th. Again, that is in a Midwest region. We don't know the tracks on that yet, but I would imagine they are the same tracks from last year, which is like Byron, Cordova, Tri-State, and some other. Man, why can I remember 3 and not 4? That's what's happened every time.
Was it Great Lakes?
Great Lakes Dragway. Yeah, that was the one that had all the people at it. That was when everybody called in sick for. That was the funnest day too, because they had the burnout, and the burnout pad like kind of goes up. So that was always cool to watch people figure that out, especially in stick cars. And then Big Sky Race Week, the first event in Montana, is June 16th through 21st. I've talked to that promoter quite a bit early in the planning series of that. So that's pretty exciting to see that one come to fruition. And then Midwest Drag is July 8th through 12th. We know the dates. We don't know where that one's going to be either yet. So I'm sure it's funny. We're still very early in the planning for 2024 events. I just like to get a jump on stuff with the circuit. So, because I'm so busy with all this stuff. So anyways, Brandon is asking what's the closest event to Virginia in 2024. And to be honest, I have no idea. So, but just pick one and plan on it, man. Just make the trip. It's worth the extra day of travel both directions, depending on where you go. This year, my favorite event this year was Race Week, just because we went to Bandimere. That was a good event as well.
But if you look at that, we are sitting in October, beginning of October of 2023, and we already have 7 events with dates, except for Drop the Hammer. 7 events with dates already. And like you said, last year there was only 11 total. So
yeah. Well, and so the other side too is like, I know there will be a Rocky Mountain event in June. I don't know where, what dates that are, but I know it's going to typically be in June. We're going to see Race Week sometime in September or October, things like that. Like I just haven't seen those dates yet. So if folks know those dates, bring it in. Let me know. Tag me in a post or something like that. So.
And I know one guy's garage, they've already
Yep.
started talking about their dates for next year and track. So I talked to him a little bit, and I'm going to wait until he announces it, but he's got some ideas already, so that'll be coming out too.
Yeah, so I mean, like there's already, that's 10 that we're just talking about right here, 11 that we know about already. That's not any additional. And we can talk about events, because there was a lot of folks that were asking when I was on this last few weeks if we would see more events. Are events gonna die down some because we had some attendance struggles at some of these? I don't think so. I think we're gonna see more. I think there's gonna be a rush of probably another 10 or 12 events that will happen next year. I think we'll probably be in the low 40s, something like that, just based on everybody. I mean, you now have an opportunity to where probably 4,000 people, by the time we get all the names and things like that, probably a unique 3,300 racers will have competed in a Drag-N-Drive in 2023. Well, in 2022 there were 1,800. So if you take 1,800 and now you have 30 events, what does 3,300 do to the number? Now will another 1% of those folks go out and create their own event? Well, that's 30 more events than what we had. So, I think low 40s, 50s, maybe something like that is going to be pretty nuts. And that's one thing that I did not plan on. I'll be completely 100% honest, did not plan on in 2022 as I started building the plan to be able to do this full time and do all the results and lists and things like that. And it is just like, I made a little, I'm not gonna say complaint the other day on Facebook, but it is a struggle. That's what takes me so long. Just the simple fact of somebody putting an extra T in their name, or, you tell, like if you're registering day of an event and they type in how they think it should be spelled, and that's not how it's spelled, then that creates a whole new line for me. And that's where we ran into situations where, like Bryant Goldstone, I didn't see one of his events. And so it actually took him out of the top 10. It should have put him in the top 10. He should have been up there. So it's one of those things, man. It's really hard to find that, and I literally have to go line by line to find all of the names and make sure they're spelled right, and make sure there's not a, sometimes people put junior, sometimes people don't, sometimes people put senior, and sometimes they don't. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they
Yeah.
put the middle initial, sometimes they don't. So it's very difficult, and we're working on a way to get around that. Working on some opportunities, maybe this is not 2024 stuff, 2025, of how to help promoters do these events. What's the best way that we can point in the direction of, hey, these people use this software, please use this software. It just
Right.
takes a lot of time, and to be honest, that is a back burner into me taking care of the racers and the stats and all that kind of stuff. So
And
again, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, back to Brandon, for Virginia, I know Ralph Foy was talking about
Yep.
setting up an event out in that area. So he
Yep.
would be a good one to talk to. If you don't know him, reach out to him, find him on Facebook or whatever, and maybe you guys can work together and help put something together.
Yep. Ralph Foy, Foy, or Ralph's Garage on YouTube.
So this one here says an event with 4 races to average compared to 1 race for average. How do they compare Get Lucky one day versus multi-day, multi-track event?
Yeah, so for us, like with the stats and things like that, a national level event is, well, for us to qualify or use the stats that are provided by a team for our standings and our stats, you have to drag race, drive somewhere more than 100 miles typically is what we kind of figure, because we don't want to do true street stuff, and then drag race again, right? That's the basis of a drag and drive event in our opinion. So if an event doesn't drag race and then do some driving around and then drag race again, we don't follow their stuff. Now an event can be called a drag and drive, like King of the Open Road uses drag and drive in their stuff, because it kind of is, you drag race and drive. So but they don't do that in succession. And then for standings, for us to use for the standings on all of our lists, your average is what counts for your standing. Like for your class wins, for your event standing, all that kind of stuff has to be your average from that. So like these heads up shootouts at the end, like Heads Up Hustle or Back to the Streets, things like that, or King of the Open Road, because they run a shootout at the end. You basically make your passes for qualifying with a drive. Those don't qualify for our stuff simply because they're not using the average of that racer to do their standings. So I hope that makes a little sense off the top of my head there. So then we got folks. Yeah, this is a question we run into a lot. Still trying to find a class I'm legal for, but also competitive. That is a problem we are seeing, because we really are still very grassroots with this, and so you end up with classes that are either too liberal or way too tight. So we're still trying to figure it all out, and nobody has the right answer. You just got to go through all the events and figure it out. So we run a compiled list on ours with links to the events, so you can find it easily just on drag-n-drive.com/news.
Yep, and I was just going to say on that, I think we're going to try to do something different with the website for 2024 and try to have a link to the events instead of being in the news area.
Yep. And so the reason it was in the news area for 2023 was simply because there was so many changes. It was always getting different. It was all, there's always a new event. There's always this. So we need an easy way to do that. And Eric is working through some ways that we can do that too. So, yeah. And then this person, the same question here, says, what killed me was having a tube front end due to damage, but built for street race, small block power rider. Yeah, that is a struggle. So it probably puts you into super street or something like that. So, and just not competitive in that class. If you're an 850 car, you're not going to compete with that stuff. But you may look at other power rider classes or something like that. All right. Any more events, any more deep dive of knowledge we need to go into here before we jump into the Drag-N-Drive World Champion points leaders because we've got a bunch of shakeup on that. I'm really excited about this. We saw Rich Guido in here making comments earlier. He is a new racer to the top 10. So we got Rich Guido in the top 10. We got Ben Neal in the top 10. We got Cameron Thorpe in the top 10 in the Drag-N-Drive World Series or World Champion Points Series. And Corey Thompson rounds out the new drivers to the top 10 list. That's right. So some folks actually got knocked down or off, but one racer, this is pretty cool, went up in standings, which is, I thought, really neat. So Walter Doyle was our leader before Drag Week with 93 points. He actually moved to 5th after Drag Week, but now is up to 4th after Race Week because he has 3 second place finishes at each event. So he has competed in 4 events, and at 3 of those has placed second in his class. So that ended up getting him 33 points at each event. Now he has 99 points, and that puts him in 4th place. That's right. Our top 3 folks have more than 100 points. Now, for a recap for the new folks, the Drag-N-Drive World Champion Point Series only takes points from your top 3 finishes of national level events. Again, national level events are 4 days of racing scheduled or more. Your average from that, and then we award points based on your ET level. So 6 seconds, 7, 8, and 9 receive additional points, and your placement within the classes. So if you're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, you also are awarded additional points with a heavy emphasis on being 1st or 2nd. So that is really, of course, if you're going to look for a world champion, you want the guy or girl that is going to win. You want a winner in that spot. So position changes, we talked about Walter Doyle going from 5th to 4th. Graham Hayes fell from 1st to 3rd. Well, if you'll remember, Graham had 101 points. So Clark Rosenstengel fell from 2nd to 6th place. Evan Yurkowitz from 3rd to 7th place. Brian Acton, one of my favorite people, fell from 4th to 8th place. So he's not out of the top 10 yet, but we do have 2 more events left for the season with Death Week and Southeast Street Meet. So we do have a new leader, but let's start at number 3, which was Graham Hayes at 101 points. 2nd place, and I hope he is still in here, Mr. Rich Guido is in 2nd place in a stick shift, 4,000-pound turbo Pontiac-powered Pontiac GTO. It doesn't get any cooler than that.
That doesn't even get trailered to the event.
No, he drives it everywhere, 14,000 miles a year on his car. He just has dominated stick shift racing this year, winning Sick Week. I'm pretty sure he just won Race Week. He's the man. I'm telling you, he is the Canadian Chuck Norris. Pretty impressive. Congratulations to Rich. Yeah, I see he is in here. Says, how cool is that? So congratulations to him. He has worked his butt off this year to do that. But our new leader, with artwork coming out tomorrow and all the stuff, like the website will get updated. Just type in drag-n-drive.com/world champion. Corey Thompson is leading the charge with his 67 twin turbo, 7-second big block 67 Chevelle. Y'all, this car is so nice. It's as nice as Rich Guido's car, and Graham Hayes' car is nice. Like, these guys are top level racers. Corey has won every class that he has raced at this year. That's why he has more points, because Rich also has maybe a little slower car, ended up with a 9-second average, I think, at one event. That cost him a point lower than what Corey is. I'm going to basically lay out in an article a full breakdown of their points so you can see how all of that manipulates, right? So I want to congratulate Corey Thompson. I know he has worked very hard and followed this very, very tightly all year long to really make a run at being the first ever Drag-N-Drive World Champion. And what's crazy is we still have 2 events left. I hope he can hold on to it. There are some ways that folks can come in and beat him. And this is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to come, I'm telling you, right down to the wire with Southeast Street and Ute. That's going to be the determining factor. Like I said earlier, it is the final national level event for the year, guys. So my question is, can anyone beat Corey? The answer is yes. So there are 7 racers with somewhere in the 70s for points after 2 events. So here's the key there, right? You need to be high enough in the points that you can afford to, you can have done 3 events, but those 2 events that will move on have to be high enough to where you can be in the 70s, which, guys, just like takes class winners. It takes fast cars too, right? So if you have 72 points, let's use this as an example. If they complete Southeast Street Meet, win their class, run a 4-second average, and reset the ET record, they would have 110 points. Okay. So a 72 point racer after 2 events. Complete Southeast Street Meet, wins their class, 4-second average, and resets their class ET record, they would have 110 points. Then it goes to, is their average faster than what Corey Thompson's was? So I see Ryan Hargett asking what points does number 1 have now. He has 110. So Corey Thompson is currently leading with 110 points. There are a few racers. There are 7 racers with 70 or more points. There are very few racers with 75 or 6 points. Devin is not even on the list. Devin is not even on the list because he didn't race this year. Yes, he has a car and all that, and tunes it and all that kind of stuff and built it. But Devin is not on the list. Josh Davis is on the list, and he's driven that car twice. So I'm gonna just leave that out there. But okay, we know that car will do 4-second averages, but will they bring it to Street Meet, which is their event? Josh probably works that event along with Devin. Devin, I'm telling you, it's too hard to promote, to be the promoter and excuse me, and race. I've tried that. It's very hard. So if you have a racer that has maybe a higher 70 point rating, they theoretically only need 2nd place finish and a low 5-second average ET to beat their event, to beat Corey Thompson, right? As long as their other 2 events are 7-second averages. So it's going to be very, very close. I'm telling you, this is what we wanted. We wanted winners to be in the running for this, and that is what we have. We have people that have podiumed at every event are on this list. We have people that have won their class. We have people that have wrenched on their cars. This isn't some easy lay down deal that is just an attendance deal, because we've had a lot of racers that have done 4 and 5 events this year, but that doesn't matter how many you do, as long as you still have to perform very, very well. So I had a few conversations with racers and they haven't quite made the commitment yet. So I wanted to give them this list of stuff that they have right now. This is the list of stuff, right? So this is the list of prizes that we have right now. You will be the first ever Drag-N-Drive World Champion. You're going to get a custom one-off hand-built trophy by Cold Hard Art. You're going to get custom embroidered jackets for your driver and co-pilot that'll say 2023 Drag-N-Drive World Champion, a $500 gift card to Summit Racing, free entry into the following events in 2024: Southeast Street Meet, Rocky Mountain Race Week, and Hot Rod Drag Week. That's right, 4 national level events, and a guaranteed spot in Sick Week and Sick Summer. Mickey Thompson has provided a free set of tires that you can pick up at any Mickey Thompson tire facility or truck. 2 buy one, get one certificates. You're going to get, of course, a Drag-N-Drive Addiction swag pack with it, for driver and co-pilot, hoodies, shirts, hats, license plates, anything we offer. And just today, there is a company called Precise Built Tools. They are providing a torque wrench and case that's perfect for your Drag-N-Drive car or trailer, from 25 to 250 pound torque wrench. So that's pretty cool. So you can throw that in there and not have to worry about purchasing one of those. And we're adding more every day, guys. I'm telling you, Eric and I are working very hard on getting more and more available for you to win this. We also want to use this as a stepping pad for 2024's Drag-N-Drive Awards, to provide that to other racers. We want to have more racers win this kind of stuff. So we're working every day. So if you know of a company or you own a company that you would like to get involved, reach out to us. Let us know. We would love to have you. And again, all of that goes right back to the racers. So pretty amazing. I cannot wait. And I saw Ryan Hargett's comment in there. Let's talk after this. I'll call you. We'll go over a few different things. With the same thing I've done for several other racers, because really there really is a lot of what ifs. Like I can give you the roadmap of what you got to do, but you guys know it's just as hard as anything else. Are we going to look at maybe a track that's not right one day? Is it slippery? As we've seen in other events, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on that can make a drag and drive this late in the season hard on your car. Can your car survive another event with that kind of runtime? Have you already done 3 this year, but you finished third or out of the top 3 in an event, you want to make a run at it? Well, now you're going to have to hang your car on the line again. So, and I'm telling you, Street and Heat, based on what I've seen and based on what I know, there's going to be some tight competition there this year. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. There's events that were slower this year than they have been in the past, and I think it's going to be hard because everybody's looking at that last event as a way to get there. So good luck to everyone. That is you can still sign up for Southeast Street Meet, so please do that. It's going to be absolutely wild. And then this Facebook user says, you want to win, then come to the Carolinas Southeast Street Meet. Official doesn't have bad tracks. I'm telling you, that's what I'm looking for. I'm really hoping we're going to see some people rip their back bumpers off. That's what I want to see. I want to see some back bumper rippage for sure. Well, guys, one thing that is for sure is we can't do this without sponsors. I say it all the time, but sponsors make this stuff happen. So I got to see Eric Grillo over the last week at Molly Motorsports. So I definitely want to say thank you to him for the hoodie when I arrived at Bandimere, because I had left it in Detroit with Matt Lang in the trailer. And so I wore that Molly hoodie till it probably could stand up all by itself without washing it. So we're going to thank them. We're going to play an ad real quick, and then we'll get right back to it.
Molly Motorsports is the official piston of Drag-N-Drive.com. Molly's Power Pack piston is the perfect candidate for your drag and drive car. Molly Motorsports competes in drag and drive events and supports our community. Project manager Eric Grillo raced a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. He's also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week last year with his C10 truck. Visit mollymotorsports.com for the most recent line of products.
Awesome. All right. Well, Eric, if you'll take over for just a second, I'm going to message with the guys at Redwood Rally real quick. So I'll be right back because I'm trying to see if they can jump on tonight. So I'll be right back. If you want to jump in, maybe talk a little bit about One Guy's Garage, and then I'll be back in just a second.
All right. So working on a video for One Guy's Garage, recorded a bunch of content while I was there. So I've got a video of going through the pits, looking at each car that was on the property. Also have some of their passes that were done while I was at the event. So I'll be putting that video together hopefully this weekend, and maybe we can get that out shortly. We already looked at a bunch of the photos that I had posted for Drag-N-Drive. So if you haven't seen those, go check those out. There's a bunch of great photos there as well. The next things that we are going to talk about is going to be the events that Mike has attended. So as you guys know, he's been at 3 events since we were last on 2 weeks ago. He was at Hot Rod Drag Week, Back to the Streets, and of course, Race Week. So he's going to tell a little bit about his experience at those events, which, since I did a bunch of the pictures, I've kind of got to see quite a bit of what he got to do there, and it looked like an amazing time. Again, I wish I could have been at Bandimere, but it just didn't play out in my favor to make that one.
Well, and looking back, we probably could have gone live that night, but I just really don't think it would have worked as well as we would have liked it to. So it's probably a good thing we didn't. And with Race Week and Rocky Mountain, they race at night, so it's very hard to do anything in the evening at one of those tracks. So, but let's start back at Hot Rod Drag Week. The last time we were on live, he caught me in the parking lot at one of the route stops, which is really cool because we got to walk around and talk about some of the stuff. You had a list of class leaders and all that, but we haven't been live. We haven't talked about any of that since then. So a few things I want to go over. I have to fine tooth comb the results. Like I was talking about earlier, I've got to go line by line, make sure names are spelled the same, not necessarily correctly, but the same. So I've got to look through all that. But it looks like there were around 100 new drag week racers compared to previous drag weeks for 2023, which I thought was really cool because that means probably more than a third of the racers were brand new to the drag week family, which is really cool. A lot of new cars, a lot of neat stuff. Got to see Matt Frost out of the promoter role and in a racer role for after 10 years. He came to drag week, which is really interesting to see him out of his normal way that I see him. I always see him at race week or, went up for the last day of Rocky Mountain this last time. And so him running around handling stuff, well, it was different this time. He was running around doing stuff. They exploded the Pro Charger like day 2, found a new Pro Charger. It didn't fit the same way. So they had to manipulate a subframe connector, get it all changed up, goes out there, hurts the trans, but realizes that it was probably a hurt trans in the beginning that hurt the Pro Charger. So it was pretty cool. He says he is returning for 2024, which is awesome. He said that on the Adam Dory show the other day. Adam Dory's YouTube channel has a live stream called That's Cool Drink. And then the Hulk, which is Matt's car, ran a 7:031 on day 1 at Drag Week. So pretty crazy car. It's going to be solid 6 seconds. And I know he had that time in him. The car just didn't cooperate because really it's been a thrash to get it ready to get it to those events. And then obviously Ned Dunphy, the Viper, everybody's favorite. I think it's probably our best performing videos of the shorts of the entire event. Blows the intake off. I mean, literally blows it 150 feet in the air. They find 3 screws, screw it down, and then silicone to get it to seal back up so they could finish the 200-mile drive back to wherever we started for drag week. So it's pretty awesome to see that guy come rolling into the hotel at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and they literally could not build any boost because it would start leaking again, and they'd have to stop and re-silicone it and all that kind of stuff. Ran a best pass of the week of the event, 6:4:07 at 236 miles an hour. That car is a force to be reckoned with. He's doing radio versus the world racing this weekend, so it's going to be pretty crazy. And then I want to congratulate David Armentrout and Paul Powell for finishing their first Hot Rod Drag Week. Now, the reason that is momentous is because this is their 4th attempt. They've done this since 2018. That's very, very hard to attend that many and not finish and keep up your momentum. Now, Paul Powell ended up winning the Spirit of Drag Week by helping Brian Acton and Jay Blanchard rebuild their Power Glide in the pits at Thunder Valley or Bristol. And I'm sure helped many, many other folks. I'm sure he didn't win it just for doing that one nice thing, but that was really cool because then they went on to have struggles of their own that night and not get to the hotel till 3 a.m. So pretty big deal there. Congratulations to David and Paul. That's an awesome achievement. Let me get through this last thing, then we'll talk about what Rich Guido is talking about here. And then I want to congratulate our friend, our YouTuber, Mike Turner, Shop Dog Fabrication, for winning the Street Machine Eliminator 32 car shootout. It's pretty cool. He was actually an alternate, being like number 35 or 36 on the list with other people dropping out. It moved him in, which is really cool. So congratulations to Mike and all of his fun. He was so excited when he came by that I didn't catch when he was saying that he won, because looking at it, I didn't think he was even in. And then I seen him 2 hours later and he'd won it. So it was pretty awesome. So congratulations to him. I know he had a great week.
That's awesome.
Yep. Oh man, and then Rich Guido here saying currently changing the input shaft on my transmission, twisted the splines and the flip yoke. Yeah. Stick cars, man, they're hard. They're very difficult to race with. So pretty awesome. Yeah. See, you got a couple questions here we can run through. See, it's Bill Armstrong in here saying hello.
Yeah, we've had
it's great to see him last week.
Pretty active comments tonight. It's been good.
Yep.
So a couple questions that I had for you for Hot Rod Drag Week. Which was your favorite route stop of the event?
And I'd have to go back through my
Or do you remember them?
They're a pretty big blur. Um, the bowling alley wasn't very cool, but the parking lot was pretty neat to be able to actually spend some time and hang out and all that. And then I see here you asked if I rode with anyone. I did not because I was driving my own car. So that's a very hard gamble to take because then you're locked in with whatever everybody wants to do. So
Yeah, Bill here says, cracked my block on day 2 drive.
yep, on race week. That was tough, but it was great to see him. It's to see him say hi. Yeah.
So what about favorite track?
Oh man, hands down, Thunder Valley. Bristol was the absolute coolest. Jesse and I were able to pit the night before. Like we got set up around midnight or 2 a.m. and it was just really how quiet everything was, and then to be able to watch the sunrise come up through. I mean, you're literally in a valley. Like there's not just seats on each side. There's like a whole, valley that you're in, and it's just the way the sound carries and things like that was really cool. So Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee, you got to go do that.
So I know we talked about Jay and Brian rebuilding the trans, but was there any other roadside repairs that you got to witness or stop at?
I think we worked on Jesse's Volvo a little bit. Lynette Jankuski, she was working on her car trying to get it ready, ended up not being able to do it. I mean, I wish I had thought about these a little more. I figured they would come right to me, but man, it was too hard, dude. It's too hard.
All right. Last question would be, what was your favorite car? Was it the Viper?
I mean, that was definitely one of my favorites for sure. The Viper, and then Mike or Chris Fathy has a black G body wagon with a blower, like a blown big block in it or
Oh
something.
yeah.
That car. That's it was so cool.
Yeah,
There was a
I've
lot of
seen
stuff.
that
Yep.
here
Yeah,
in Byron.
Yep, that was a neat car. And then the Rugs were there again. It was good to see them. I told them at Midwest Drags that they'd be back, and they were. Now they've done like 3 of these events. Rob Courtney's car is always a favorite of mine. The little all-wheel drive Honda Civic stick shift car, that was cool.
Travis Fathy.
Yeah, Travis. Yeah,
That's what it is.
I was close. I was close. Yep.
Steve here saying had a great first time in a C10, so
Yep.
that's cool.
That was a cool truck. If it's the one I think of, that it was slow, but it was really cool, man. Like it was lowered, big wheels. It was great looking. I'm a big fan, and he slept in the seat all week, so that was cool.
Facebook user saying Bristol is awesome till you have to race on it.
Yeah, I bet that was it's probably an interesting deal.
And then Daily Misfire says the last stop at Drag Week was pretty cool for sure.
Oh yeah, that was a good spot. It was a gas station that was kind of, I don't know, more than a convenience store. It had like some souvenirs and things like that in it, but the parking lot had huge potholes. I mean, like I think one of them was like a foot deep. It was insane. So that kind of ruined that for me, just because cars were having to be really careful, and there wasn't a good parking air situation. So, but there was a lot of really cool cars. I spent probably 2 hours there. So
Nice. And then
yeah.
so you left Hot Rod Drag Week while Drag Week ended, and then you went to the ZMAX
Yeah.
street car shootout thing with
Yep.
the Drag-N-Drive cars. We've seen the video of that.
Yep.
Was there anything you want to talk about on that, or are we going to jump straight to back to the streets?
It was pretty neat. I want to say thanks to Hot Rod for putting us up in a suite on Saturday. That was really cool to be able to come hang out and see how the other half lives. As car guys, we don't typically spend money on good tickets and things like that. We just want to go. So that was really, and to be able to see the amount of interest that a lot of the general public had in why these cars had trailers in behind them. Rick Steinke and the honk if parts fall off car was right up front. And then you had like Emily Ballard's car, which is so nice. It was down a little bit. Dustin Trance and them had just, slain the record. So they were there. And, Randy Seward, his car is so unassuming. It looks like what you would have built in 1999 or 2000 for a Fox body Mustang. And so like all of those cars there, and then we would tell people, especially like Brian and Jay, they were pulling their trailer, and so they were parked at the trailer and everything like that. And so these people would come and go, well, what is this? What class are you running? And they're like, oh, we're here for the exhibition, and this is we just got done with drag week and drove 1,000 miles, and they're like in the car and pulling that trailer, and people would like go back and jiggle the handle on the trailer and see how heavy it was. And all this stuff. So it was really cool to kind of spend some time with what I would call the general public. I'm not used to that with people that only watch drag racing and go trailer their car to the track and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty fun to hang out there. So
And then
that was
you
a good
left.
time.
And then you left there. And did you come
Mhm.
home or did you go straight back to the streets?
No, I came home for what essentially was 2.5 days. I drove about 3 hours Sunday night after we ended, and then got up Monday morning and just drove as fast as that little Saturn rocket would go to get home, so I could be home Monday instead of Tuesday. And then I flew out Thursday for back to the streets. So I flew to Detroit. Matt and his team, Matt Lang, put me up, hotel and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool to kind of hang out and be with them. So I'll go quick with that because I see we got some guests coming in. So front of the track, no prep for day one, which is really cool. First time I'd ever been a part of that at Milan. The highlight of that day, I'm telling you, was Adam Hodson's huge wheelie. I bet he rode that thing 150, 200 feet. And then Austin Sanchez got like let off to finish his pass and then changed lanes and scraped the other wall with his rear quarter. You see that on the video. It's absolutely nuts to see that car go lane change 2 or 3 different times. So that was pretty neat. And then you can see all that stuff like on the YouTube channel. I really worked hard to get those videos out. The route took us through downtown Detroit, which is really neat. I obviously never been there. And so we passed the GM Renaissance Center, the Chrysler facility, some big Stellantis Chrysler deal, and then the Ford area there. I don't know what you call that, but like it had the museum and all that kind of stuff. And you and I were messaging about should I take the time, but I actually had jumped in with Dave McKenna in his Turbo LS Fox body that ended up winning the True Street class and rode with him. So I was kind of, limited. I was navigating that day. So the final route stop on day one was really cool because we went to the 5 o'clock garage and Vet Lab new headquarters, which is an old skating rink. And so they have a really cool vision for this place. They have like an upstairs lounge area where like it's like a big man cave, pool table, cool chairs, hang out in, refrigerators, all that kind of stuff to drink. Like they fed us, they took care of us with drinks and all that. And then down was still the skating rink floor. So since it's all coming up, they had to do a few burnouts on that. So
That,
you catch that in the video too.
yeah, there were some cool videos of that for sure.
Yeah, it was a pretty neat deal. So, and then day two, we ended up going to Lapeer International, which is like 120 something miles. It's a great route. Get up there. I think probably the fifth pass down the track, the fifth pair, the oil filter like backs off. So apparently, really high oil pressure busted the filter or backed the filter off or whatever. I can't remember what happened, but essentially, huge burnout. Put oil from the burnout box past the 60-foot line. So the track worked for like 2 hours trying to get it cleaned up. And then I don't know who came up with the idea, but it was awesome to have like basically back of the track race. So I'd never been a part of that. Well, at mid track, the track goes from concrete to asphalt there. So they would do their burnout on the concrete and then move up and make their pass on asphalt. So there was probably a little more traction. And in the video, Adam Hodson and Travis Martin both say there's more traction here than there was at the front because it had not been scraped. And again, Adam lays out this huge wheel gap train, and Jason Upchurch had great passes all day there. It was really cool. And then there wasn't a specified route, so I jumped in with Matt and them headed back to Milan, and then that put us at the track for the final day, and they did a back of the track, headed towards the starting line from the end of the shutdown, which was crazy. And there was very little prep down there. Obviously, they're not going to scrape or anything, but there had been racing there before, so there was a little bit down there, but not much. And then I see NHRA Stocker says, "Was that not a timed event?" Nope, it was an elimination style event. So those racers won't populate our lists, but it was still a drag and drive because those guys were drag racing, then driving somewhere, and then drag racing again. So pretty cool deal. And then that put us back. So the racers ran out all their elimination rounds with chip draws before each round. So that was pretty cool to be in the middle of that and not just be based on your ET. Sean Fensler won hard tire in his Turbo LS Colorado. Dave McKenna won True Street in his Turbo LS Fox body. Matt Walter put on a clinic on how to drive stick shift. I'm telling you, in a third gen Camaro, one stick shift class, just it was awesome to watch that car go down. And then Austin Sanchez won the small tire in his Turbo LS third gen Camaro. Matt Walter also has a third gen Camaro. So it's kind of, it's Turbo LS fever around there for sure. So I know we've got some folks jumping in here, so let's go ahead and jump to them, and then maybe after our guests, we'll get back to the so you have a question. How was your experience with no prep? It was awesome. It was really cool to like see the changes, because I mean there's a lot of air pressure changes with the tires as they went through the day. And then the back of the track racing was really cool to see how guys changed they didn't really change their setup, they would just tune around it a little bit better. So, those guys, Adam Hodson and Travis Martin, do that stuff a lot. So there's not a lot of new that goes to them. So
Are you down there on the starting line making any bets there?
Yeah, well, I should have been. If I'd had any cash left, I probably would have, just for the experience of it. There wasn't a whole lot of big money going on, but it was really cool to see like the folks waving their hands with money, and it kind of like what you see on TV all the time, So that was pretty neat. So it looks like we've got some folks here in the back. The first guy I want to bring on is the man of the hour, the guy that I don't know should be motivational to everyone in here, Mr. Jason Hurley, Mr. Sets personal best
I think
at
you're being a little too
Vandermeer.
kind.
Oh no, I don't know, man. It was you put on a clinic this week, dude. That's 3 Rocky Mountain events in a row that you've won the all out fastest. So
That's correct.
How does it feel to be awesome?
I guess it feels great.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it was really cool to watch you do that. I came in late, but it was really neat to see you work so well with Eric. You guys are a great team to see everything go down like that. And then just to watch that car make passes. You and I were standing up there Thursday morning, and you were almost a little emotional, man, because it was like going to be one of your last times to make a pass at Vandermeer, and you went out and laid it down.
Definitely was a little emotional. I didn't think it was into it. I got up Thursday morning and realized it was bothering me.
Yeah, he was down there getting pictures. Jesse Fox was taking pictures of the car on the track and things like that. It was really neat. And then, dude, you go out and run a 7:02.9, right?
Yeah, 7:02.9, 200.95 miles an hour.
So personal best for you, right? I think that's what you're saying. And then personal best, obviously, at Vandermeer.
Yeah, all around personal best for us, and to do it on our last pass on the mountain was just, that was phenomenal, right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Oh no, we got Rich Guido here saying, I heard a rumor about Jason competing in another event, possible world champion.
Oh,
hey, we don't have to put you on the spot here, but are you going to?
But you're gonna put me on the spot.
Well, listen, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I mean, if you want to, we listen.
Man, we've definitely been we've been talking about it this week a lot, and I've got to make a decision this week. That's all there is to it.
Yep, I'm with you. Well, if I can help twist your arm, I definitely will. I know this next guy that we're going to bring on is Red Hat Scotty. We're going to bring him on, and he'll help to twist your arm as well.
Oh. What's up, Scotty?
Oh, Mr. 200, how you doing, sir?
Good Lord, here we go.
So, as you can tell, I'm actually working right now. I got a customer right here.
Nice. Well, here, we'll let you handle them, and we'll talk to Jason for a second.
Sounds like they're partying.
All right, we'll come back to him. Perfect. So, dude, talk about the thrash to get the car ready for the event, because like you guys, the car was not 100% when you were ready or when the event came up, right?
Correct. So on Rocky Mountain Race Week, we melted down that piston, brought it back home, tore it all down. Started diagnosing right away, trying to figure out for sure exactly what happened. a lot of contributing factors, small contributing factors. We had some dirty fuel injectors, we think. I had just installed EGT probes before the first race week and really felt that I couldn't trust them. That turned out to be a mistake. Turns out I should have trusted them because they were not lying. Somehow, amazingly, it only torched that one piston, but really weren't sure we were going to be able to get pistons in time, and Eric Grilliot, Molly Motorsports came through for us, and came through for us big, gave us a full sponsorship, and
that's awesome.
Obviously are a huge part of our program overnight, and got them to us in a timely manner. Eric and Danny, at Bowtie Engine Shop, they had everything ready so that as soon as those pistons hit the ground, like I'm talking within 48 hours, that engine was going into the car.
Wow. How cool.
Awesome.
Then Brent Coddington busted his hump to get the new headers built before him and Matt headed out on drag week. He stayed up till like 3:30 in the morning, welding up the new headers the night before they left.
Wow.
And then I picked the car up, brought it back home, built the up pipes and the wastegate tubes and everything. Brent got back from drag week, and we fired the car up 1 week before we left for race week.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I see Red Hat giving us the thumbs up here, so I'll bring him in because he's got some good stories as well. He brought a car that is not new to him, obviously, but I think you had that out at another event earlier in the year too, right?
Yeah, I took that car to Coder earlier back in May.
Right. And so it's a car you've had for like 20 years, right?
Yeah, I've owned that car 21 years.
Jeez. That's a long time. So it's turbo LS setup in it. Is it the same powertrain from the Rickety Rocket?
So the motor in that car is the motor that came out of my Rickety Rocket. Motor, transmission, kind of turbo kit, EFI deal.
Nice. And it made it through the week. You guys survived, so that's always a plus. You ran some
we got beat up this week. Bunch of stupid issues. New car, new combo kind of thing. But it survived. We went 994 at 139 at Pueblo. So I'm not mad.
Yes, that's right, dude. That's awesome. So is that your first 9-second pass?
It is. That the 994 at Pueblo was my first 9-second pass.
Oh wow!
Dang, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a week of personal best for everybody. That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Scotty, the fact that you've owned that car for 21 years only means one thing. We're getting older.
Yeah. No. I was 17 when I bought that car. So.
Ouch. Still a youngster. That's awesome. Well, Jason, you haven't owned that one behind you as long as you've owned the Meltdown Part 1, right?
Correct. Yep. Correct. Yeah, I've probably owned the OG car for about as long as Scotty's owned the black car. Yeah, I think I bought that one when I was 20 or 21. So
wow,
that probably puts it longer than Scotty's own the black car.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you, it was really cool to watch the car this week and watch both of you guys work. I didn't get to spend as much time with Scotty as I did with Jason because you guys were kind of pitted by Steven, and I kind of called that home base most of the week. So, but one thing I did notice is that Jason, you only made one pass on Thursday. That was it. That's all it took, right?
I actually only made one pass the second, third, and fourth day.
Wow, dude!
Yeah, you're one and done a lot.
Yeah.
Which is weird. A weird experience for me. It's nice on the one hand. On the other hand, you find yourself kind of sitting there going, "Man, I kind of want to race some more."
Yep.
Oh well, Jason, everybody wanted you to do more than one,
right?
But we all understand why you didn't.
Yeah, there was a lot of people pushing real hard for us to go back down and get that 6 seconds. And ultimately I decided not to. One, it was already just everything we could have asked for. Two, I really want my wife and kids to be there that first 6 second pass that we get.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. And I mean, dude, at that point, I think we had the conversation, like all you needed was like 883 or something like that to lock up the fastest overall. And so you had that locked in, but you only needed like an 1130 to win your class. So like there was no way you were not gonna, once you made that one pass and to have set all those personal bests, I mean that's really the only way I think to do it.
Yeah, that's the tough part about Drag-N-Drive, right? You get into a spot where you got to start thinking about preserving the car and making sure it can make it to the end, and not just having all the fun that day.
Yeah, well, and I mean, let's look back at 1.0 when you make your final pass on day 4 and hurt the car. Now you've got to, you got to find an engine. You've got to figure out how to make the carburetor work. You've got to have juggernaut weld up piping, all this kind of stuff. So, to relive that, I'm sure that was not on the list.
Yeah, that was definitely burning in the back of my mind after that 200-mile-an-hour pass.
Yeah. So, I can only imagine.
Where's that engine now that the one that you did swap in there?
It went back to its rightful owner, guy by the name of Mike Iworks. It's local here in Greeley.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep, that's pretty neat. So for the folks that don't know that whole story, kind of give us a quick recap of that. Obviously we heard you talking about the piston, but how does that play into, swapping an engine, and then how did that thing drive? That's my main question. How did it drive on the trip back?
It probably goes back a little bit further than most people realize. In Bandimere, or at Bandimere on Rocky Mountain Race Week, we broke a valve spring. A lot of people probably might remember.
I have 2 of them in stock. $2.99 a piece.
And I knew at that point that I had a good hunch that something was hurt in the engine. Just the way it was acting, the way it was sounding. We kind of talked about it a little bit as a team, and me being kind of stupid like I am. I don't care. I'm just going to beat this thing, right? So we kept beating on it, and then that last pass in Pueblo, it just had all it could take, and torched that piston down. So started scrambling, trying to find an engine local and everything, searching Craigslist and Facebook and everywhere we could think of, putting the call out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
what time frame
messages, and I was like, man, I got one right here. Just got to get it down there.
What kind of time frame is that?
So I think we figured out around, I believe it was around 8 p.m. that we figured out that the engine was hurt.
Wow.
And of course there was a good half hour of trying to decide what to do, and actually prayed with Randy Scott over it. And then my brother was like, it ain't like you to give up. You got to keep going. So keep going we did. And those were the words that really kind of kept me moving, And a good friend of ours had said, if you guys need any help, just let me know, whatever I can do. So we called him up about 12:30 in the morning. We were like, hey, we found an engine, but it's in Greeley. Can you go grab it and bring it to us? So Nice. He did. He got out of bed in Brighton and drove up to Greeley, picked up an engine, and delivered it about 4:30 in the morning. And we continued hammering on it after about 2 hours of sleep. And I think by about noon we fired it, and by like 2:30 we were on the road with a sketchy exhaust on it and everything.
It was literally, it looked like you had taken the manifolds and just flipped them, and then just did like a U-bolt.
Yeah, the only way that we could get any exhaust to clear, we had like 4 different sets of headers, and the only thing we could get to clear the firewall was some truck headers that were flipped upside down.
That's awesome.
They don't fit real great that way either. They're like partially covering the exhaust ports and everything. It's not pretty. I don't recommend it.
It didn't matter. All you had to do was, but you had to make it from, were you guys at Bandimere or Pueblo?
We were in Pueblo, and we had to make it all the way back to Kearney.
Yeah, which is 420 miles.
Yeah. So so we got it running and everything, got on the road. And the really hilarious part of this is about 50 miles into the drive, Eric McEwen of Bowtie was not with me at that point. He sat that one out. My son Logan was co-piloting for me.
Nice.
As we usually do on the first race week. And I messaged him and was like, man, this thing runs pretty good. It's getting down the road just fine, but sure is kind of vibrating a lot, you know? And he's like, instantly messages me back, what flex plate did you put on it? And I was like, oh no. I was like, I put mine on it. Well, my engine's an internally balanced engine, you know. That
nice.
Stock 454 was not an internally balanced engine, but it had an internally balanced flex plate on it. So it took pretty good the whole way.
So you left it. You didn't stop and. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Stop.
Like, yeah,
we didn't have another flex plate. Yeah, what were we gonna do? You know, like,
yeah.
I was like,
just
well,
keep
I guess if we
pushing
wipe some
on.
bearings out, then I'm gonna owe this guy a crank.
Yeah. So the one question I did have was, how did that drive with the converter that you have? Because you used the converter that's in the car now, right?
Yeah. That converter was pretty tight with that little 400 horse 454 in there.
Yeah, man, I bet that was pretty intense. And then it's so funny because I came up for the last day of Rocky Mountain, and like you just walk past the fastest car on the property, and it's an Edelbrock carb on top of a big block. You know what I mean? Like an orange, all orange big block. It was pretty funny to look in there and see that. So that's pretty cool. That's one of my favorite stories of obviously this year is, you know, just the determination to do that overnight. One, that's pretty cool. And then two, to make that drive with that. And I bet that thing sounded just ugly, just cruising at 55 miles an hour, just bah.
Actually, yeah. I mean, it kind of sounded like an old dump truck.
That's awesome.
Dump truck life.
Yeah. You know what I thought was funny was we got to Kearney and there was a bunch of people who were like, you're not gonna make a pass with this thing, are you? I was like, can I not make a pass with this engine in there? Like, I have to make a pass, right?
Yeah, you had to make a pass with that engine because, dude, that was pretty fun to watch all that go down. So that's cool. Well, obviously, so that motor's back. You don't want to live that life ever again, and then you come into race week, and dude, you just dominate from day one, like fastest pass every day, I think, right?
Man, yeah, you know, I mean, obviously Eric and Danny did just a perfect job of putting the engine back together. And then, you know, Brent was along for the week, which was great. You know, definitely I prefer running when Brent's there for the whole week, you know, to tune the car. And man, the whole team just did such a stellar job the whole week. I like all I did was get in the damn car and drive, you know. Those guys, they did the real work and they really deserve the credit, you know, like. It was just amazing. And then to finish the whole week, and then the next day we go out and do a no prep. We just stayed behind in Pueblo and did a no prep there that night. And, you know, first pass was a complete mess. We just took a swing at the fences. Man, by pass 2, Brent just about had us on rails. And I mean, by pass 3, Brent just had it all figured out already. It was just, wow. And we hadn't no prepped at all this year.
That's awesome. So did they scrape it between race week and then the no prep?
No, but it's a back half of the track deal. So we start from the finish line and continue on towards the turnouts.
How cool, man. That's pretty wild. And congratulations on that too. I mean, that's pretty awesome to see all that. And so one of the coolest things is your changeover. You actually put side pipes on the car, which I really dig the shit out of. That was pretty cool. And I mean, obviously you probably do that for fumes and things like that and noise, but it looks really cool too. It kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think you dig them? You should try riding in the car both ways. Yeah, you'll really dig them.
Guaranteed, his ears appreciate the side pipes.
Yes, my ears do, my lungs do. There's lots of parts of me that appreciate those things.
That's awesome. Well, Scotty, talk to us a little bit about your guys' changeover in the car and what you do to get the car ready for street stuff.
Man, so once again, that was a new old car, and it really wasn't that bad on the changeover. I used spring savers, the little aluminum deals on the rear coils, pop those out, put the slicks on it, we're ready to go. But then when we got to do the street, I got to put them back, make sure the anti-roll bar swings back into place. Dude, I just fought myself the entire week. It was probably the hardest week I've had, even with swapping motor in 20.
That's crazy. Just trying to get everything ready. I mean, what were some of the struggles you were running into?
So I've got a set of strange race brakes on the front of the black car, and I hadn't touched them in probably 10, 11 years. And 10, 11 years showed his face. And it fought being the dude every step of the way.
Yep. That's the way it works, man. That is one of the struggles we see a lot of times with people getting a car ready, and that final thrash is you just don't have the time to test it. You end up in a situation where it's just hard. It's hard on you, it's hard on the car, all that.
Well, so we went into race week, and I had already done Coder in that car and survived, finished fairly well in my class, but I touched everything else on the car other than the front brakes and the wheel bearings. What's the two things that fought me all week long?
Got him.
Yeah. Got him. Yeah. So we had to pull over at one point, and we were in some little spot. Had to rebuild the whole front wheel bearing assembly, get to Bandamere. I had 2 collapsed brake hoses. So thank you to the dudes in the Lightning that bought the nitrous kit and gifted me hoses.
Nice.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. Like, just the silly stuff that happened to us this time just wore on me super hard.
Yeah.
But, we finished, and, that's all you can ask for. I finished 4th place in the 9.0 class.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
There was only 6 of them.
Finished that high end.
I mean, like, hey, let's be honest. Like, you probably should have ran the 10.0 class, dude. You'd have been consistent.
Yeah, so that was a funny conversation that me and the dude had. So I've been chasing that 9-second pass for a few years, like 2.5 years. And we did it at Pueblo, and I looked at him, he looked at me, and we're like, you know what, man, let's just go for it. Let's go 9.0. We can just let it all hang out. We don't have to play games. We did it twice.
Yeah. I mean, you went 994 on day 1 and then 998 on day 2. And then the other 2 were low 10s as well. I mean, I think you made the right decision, let's be honest, like to be able to run that car all out,
Yeah. And that's all we wanted. Like, honestly, if I'd have blown the whole thing apart, kicked the crank, across the the lanes, I wouldn't have cared, just because we got those 2 9-second passes.
Yep. Yeah, man, that makes it a 9-second street car because you did it at 2 different tracks after a 400-mile drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can honestly say I have a 9-second street car.
That's awesome. Well, I know Jason pulls a trailer, but did you pull a trailer, Scotty?
Yeah. So we had our makeshift trailer that neither one of us are proud about.
It's the trailer now, though.
That trailer through hell. And the best part about the trailer was I had a gigantic red hat on it.
Oh, that's right. I remember the trailer now. Yep. Huge red hat. Huge. Yeah. That was a good time. And you guys pitted with Tab and Brett most of the time. I think that's why I was getting those mixed up. So yeah. I did the trailer, man. The trailer looked cool.
Yeah, the high top Hilton. Sorry, Travis. That Brett and Tab had, everybody knew where that was.
Yeah. They had taken basically a short bed, square body bed, and actually put a trailer frame or a trailer axle underneath it, and then had a huge rooftop tent, like a 4-person rooftop tent on the top of it. It's really cool looking. Really cool.
Yeah, so Brett built that trailer. Man, if you guys get a chance to check that thing out, it's really cool. He took the short bed box and redid the axle on it, so it has trailer brakes. It's a larger axle, everything. Like, that trailer was legit. And then it had the hotel on the top.
Yeah, it was really cool. And him and I were messaging back and forth the other day because the spelling of his name at one point was a little different than the others. But we were going back and forth on how the trailer set up, because man, I think that's what I want to do with the old truck is maybe find a bed that fits that truck and then use that bed that's on it now and build something like that. Haul a golf cart and some merch and a rooftop tent,
Right.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of cool. Well, what's the next plan for you, Scotty? Are you gonna keep turning the car up? You building a new motor? What's the Rickety Rocket gonna be out soon? What we got?
So the current plan for the black car, I'm going to the 301 streetcar shootout Saturday, and then we're just gonna see what's gonna happen. I don't know. I've kind of played with the tune a little bit, trying to go 970 or so.
Nice.
The motor for the black car is actually built. It's sitting on the shop floor. I'll swap it out sometime over the winter. Then the Rocket, which I get a lot of comments about. The motor's built, trans is built, rear end's built. I just need to get the cage done. I think I'm going to take it to Vasco Speed out here, Lee Summit, Missouri, not too far from me. I'm going to let Brad do up the cage, and then it should be out the 24 season.
Nice. That'll be exciting. I'm ready to see that car back out, and just go directly into the nines. Like that car will be going slow in the nines.
Yeah, I'm really shooting for like 880 in that car.
Yep. So that'll be cool. If you fight to get to nines, put the stuff over in the black car, go nines. Okay, now it's time to really get after the Rickety Rocket.
Yeah, so black car, I really want it to be like a 950, 970, run a lot of the 650 index stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Rocket, I want 8 anything in the quarter, 5 anything in the 8.
Nice. Well, let's ask some of these questions real quick because these are always good for somebody else other than me to answer. What are some of y'all's favorite cars that were at race week?
So I got to. I know Jason's gonna make fun of me, but Mr. 200. And then my second favorite would be the stick shift killer, Brooks.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, the guy was on rails. That guy. I tell you what, man, we did a go-kart thing.
He's a driver.
That dude can drive. That's all there is to it. Holy cow, can he drive?
Dude.
Yeah. None of us could catch him. We all tried our asses off that night.
That's awesome.
Dude, I had one lap faster than him, and I had one lap faster than Jason. And that was it. Like, both those guys just mollywopped me.
Nice. Jason, what about your favorite cars, man?
So my favorite clean car of the week, I think, was the Jack-Wagon Nova. Man, that car is just gorgeous.
Yeah,
Man,
Jack-Wagon has a YouTube channel, so you gotta go look it up. Jack-Wagon.
What a well put together car, and what an awesome group of guys. I mean, those guys were fun. They were hilarious.
Yep.
I'm with Red Hat. My favorite stick car would no doubt be Brooks. And we pitted next to him most of the week, and that guy just had me cracking up all week long. He's as much of a show in person as he is in the car.
That's awesome.
That's all there is to it.
100%.
Yeah, but then my favorite kind of down and dirty one is Robert Berry's truck.
The Bernie, the diesel.
Yes, I can't remember what he calls it, but that truck, man, I love that truck.
Yeah,
that thing is just sick, and it was so sad to see him break that crank at Vandermeer. I really hope he gets that thing fixed and brings it back out.
Yeah, he was frustrated when he was loading it on the trailer. He was like, man, he's like,
he was definitely frustrated.
Yeah, he's like, but this truck's done everything I've ever asked it to. That's I think it's been on several events with that combo, it's the fastest diesel in Drag-N-Drive. I mean, it's 8-second 40 or 41 Chevrolet truck that just gets down. Compound turbo setup. Yeah.
I saw that at Byron here for Drag Week a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
It had all kinds of wires all over the place on the inside when I looked in, though. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. I think they've got some of that cleaned up now, but
I was talking to him afterwards. I didn't realize that was a stock crank still in that thing.
Wow.
And we were talking a little bit, and Robert goes by Red, and Red says, I don't know, Jason. I think maybe God's trying to tell me something. And I said, yeah, he's trying to tell you to buy a better crank, Red.
He's trying to tell you, listen, I made that metallurgy that it just won't handle anymore. It says
that truck is insane. I've been around that truck since like 2017 drag week.
Yeah.
It's no slouch for sure.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's a consistent 8-second truck and just looks the part. I mean, it's so cool with that whole compound set up in front of the windshield that's stacked up there on top of each other. Really, really a cool deal. Yeah, there were a lot of really neat cars, and like I said earlier, there were like 100 people that were new at Drag Week, and I think hold on, let me get my notes here for Race Week. There were a lot of new people at Race Week too. I don't have it in my notes here. 90 looks like around 90 new racers for Race Week.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. The community just keeps growing, and I said it earlier tonight, but I say it all the time too. Race Week is really probably one of my favorites, and it's mainly because I know that when I raced in it a couple of years, I've been to that event more than any other event I've been to. But it's a huge family, and so to see 90 new racers, that still means there's 170 racers that were from the previous year or from a previous Rocky Mountain event. So that was really cool.
Right.
Yep.
It also means there were 90 new freaking cool cars, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Lots of new stuff. I see Rich Guido here. 27 stick cars. Insane. He's leading the charge on stick shift for sure. That's pretty amazing.
Cars.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Nico's
gonna be
got his work cut out for him when he comes back.
Yeah. Let me see if I've got a breakdown of stick shift cars here. You guys will have to talk amongst yourselves.
That might end up having to be a new list on the page.
Yeah, we need to have a top 25 for sure.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Right.
So a couple of the other questions I had for Mike, I can ask you guys too. What was it like being at Bandimere, knowing it was the last time that Race Week was going to be there?
I'm gonna say she's birthing one of these times, and she
Go ahead, Jason.
It was tough. It was emotional, I'm sure a lot of people saw my video that I posted that morning.
All right, I'm out. I gotta do work.
It really had me in tears when I realized.
See you, Scotty. Thank you.
Happened at that track over there.
Later, boys.
Yeah, I could imagine being, I mean, that's it. You're not going to get a chance to race there again, and it's been racing there for how many years with Race Week. that had to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, most of the race weeks that I've been on have touched Bandimere, and like I said in that video, I've been racing there for like 27 years now. Since I was 17 years old, I made my first pass at that track. So, Bandimere was my home.
Yeah.
Pueblo's become our stomping ground, but Bandimere was my home. There's no doubt about that. It gave me a lot of firsts right there, that track.
That's awesome. Well, looking back at the stick shift stuff, so we've had 2,100 total racers this year, and just in what I would consider this is literally just a class of what I know is a stick shift. There's other stick shift cars, but 146 racers. So in a dedicated stick shift class throughout the 2023 season so far,
that's a lot of crazy guys rolling gears right there.
Dude, that's awesome. It's not unique racers. There's some racers that are in there a couple times like Rich, but you know what I mean? Like that's a bunch to think if we looked at that in 2021 or 2019, that number is 30 maybe,
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot less racers then too, but still, that means a lot more stick shift cars are coming out and putting a beating on them for here in the Drag-N-Drive community.
Right. When you guys know Brooks, he set a new record with his stick shift that last week.
Oh, I didn't.
Apparently that 930 pass made him the world's fastest stock TKX transmission in the world.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
that
pretty neat.
transmission is not face plated or anything. Like,
Wow,
just an off the shelf TKX he's running in that thing.
that's crazy. That's really cool. Well, I know he'll definitely smoke that next time. 930s is.
Oh yeah, he ain't stopping.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great starting point for sure. So we got NHRA, time for NA stick and power header stick. Yep, that's I would really say that's probably not a bad idea. Looking from a promoter standpoint, because you really get like, I hate to say like a guy like Rich Guido, but like, I mean, that car makes 1,500 horsepower, as a, like Matt Walter with his stick shift in a third gen, he's never going to compete with that guy. So he's there for fun. Well, if you had like a NA stick class, that could be pretty neat.
Absolutely.
But it goes back to, you don't want 3 cars in a class. You want, 5, 6, 8, 10, something like that. So I think we're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2024. I know I was talking earlier, some rumblings of event numbers. I think we're going to see in the be 40s for event numbers, which is a lot, but there's plenty of space in the country for all these events. So
right.
Yeah. One thing we did talk about, or I did hear from Jonathan Stonecipher, is that Rocky Mountain 1.0 is coming to like Flying H, which is in Kansas City and stuff like that next year. So that'd be cool to have you kind of around our stomping grounds over here.
Yeah.
Because we know you're going to do that one. Because I mean, can you be the first racer to win 4 Rocky Mountain events?
I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I got the feeling there's probably some guns coming for me now. Right?
Well, I'll tell you this: I'm going to be twisting arms. You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely know of some builds that are in the works that definitely have their sights set on me. And I'm sure there's probably some cars that are currently put together and were fast at other events this year that are kind of looked at what we did and went, hey, wait a second, he's having a little too much fun over there.
Yeah, wait.
And I welcome the competition, man. I want the competition.
Yep.
The more we have to battle it out, the funner it is, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and you and I've had that conversation on this show before about bring it on. Like, I want to race the best at their best.
Yep.
And so the cool thing about coming to this part of the country, Tom McGilton and them are from Southwest Missouri, so that'll be cool. I think he'll probably have that car back out, which runs low 7s, which is where your car is, and in this kind of altitude, you're not 5,800 feet. You ran a 702 at 200, almost 201 miles an hour at Bandamere.
Right.
What's that car run at Flying H that's 1,200 feet?
So I'll tell you a little secret there. We haven't even made a bar change on this car yet. We have spent no time really tuning the chassis. So there's a lot left in this car, and we're looking to keep going with it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Expect this thing to be a mid to low 6s car in the future.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I see your eyes, Scotty. Yeah.
That'd be so awesome to see Mr. 200 go that fast at my new local track.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not going to live it down, Jason. You're Mr. 200 from here on out.
Yeah. We need hoodies made that say that. I'm friends with Mr. 200.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. I think you're the only person in 2023 to do that at a Rocky Mountain event. And you've got to be one of just a handful of folks to do that ever. Larry Larson probably did. Tom McGilton, I think, has probably been 200 with running the times he has. We're real close. And then somebody said Cletus was going 206 or 8 the 1 year, the 1 year that he was ahead of you. So,
yep. I
4 events ago. So, I mean, what's that? One of 4 or 5, maybe something like that. It's been 200. So,
maybe he'll come back one of these days and want another shot at the title.
Yeah. I had heard that was his plan, and then he showed up in Arkansas on an airplane. So, like they were down doing some, I don't know, some racing with the airplanes or whatever. So he just got scared. I get it. It's fine.
Dude, that guy bounces around so many different things. I don't even think he knows where he's at.
Yeah. I can't imagine the schedule that he keeps, So
right.
But both of his cars just ran mid sixes, didn't it?
Yeah, I think
At
Yeah.
FL2K.
Yeah, I think Mullet
Yeah.
ran 640s or something like that, and then Leroy put like 690 or something. But it's still a stick car, isn't it? Like
Yeah, Leroy sold a stick car.
Yeah. So I think if he brings, but that car's not street anymore, from what I understand. His setup now is methanol, no radiator, things like that.
Well, even for FL2K, Mullet got completely stripped down. So if he went back to a Drag-N-Drive trim, he wouldn't be that quick.
Right. Yep.
Well, I'm guessing he didn't do that at altitude either.
Right. At 5,800 feet. No, that's right. Excuse me while I whip this out.
I'm going to say, man, racing at Bandimere is no joke. That mountain is something else.
No, walking at Bandimere is no joke. Imagine what the car needs.
I don't know about walking over a scooter the whole time.
Man. Yeah, Bandimere is pretty crazy. 5,800 feet at the starting line. That was intense, man. It was really cool. And I think a lot of folks were getting their stuff figured out. You know what I mean? Like I was expecting a lot more fall off, but it was only 2 or 3 tenths generally, from what I see here now, on the numbers.
Dude, so Narcs, it was crazy. You would watch somebody make a pass early in the day, and they would be like slow, but within their second, third, fourth pass, they had it figured out.
Yeah.
Like it came up quick.
You know, those guys, man, the guys that are going from Kearney running 850, 90, 10, 11, 12, really all the
index
O's,
stuff.
And then going to Bandimere and still putting down an O pass, man, that's takes freaking work,
Yeah.
Dude, off to those cats that could run, you go to Pueblo, run an O, go to Kearney, run an O, and then show up at Bandimere and run the O. Those guys are nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, the 12-0 class, I think there was only one way for Greg Jones to win 12-0, and he had to run like an 002, and the other guy had to run a 12-3 or something like that. Like it was, or a 12-1-3 or something like that, and they both ended up going O's. So like he locked in second place with his, but he ran an 002 and he made 9 passes that night. So
wow.
Yeah, dude, he said I would run 11-9 and then 12-30. He's like, there was no in between.
Man,
dude, I'm doing hot laps at Bandimere. Oh, Martin Ranger.
Oh man, that dude.
He did like 18 passes back to back. Did not shut the car off for 45 minutes.
Wow.
That car. Just beat on it, man. It was so good. It sounded great too. He was the white 65 Mustang, is that right?
Yep. The white 65 with the 2 blue stripes.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
super
okay.
cool car.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
The best part about that was at the very end of the night, we figured out how to get him and the second place guy lined up. So the last race that they both could have was against each other.
Oh, that's cool.
to lock in their spots. Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah, those guys have it down to a science, to be able to make small changes like that and be able to do that. And that's why, like, Greg usually has front runners on the car, and they were running with the regular street tires on the front because he needed the extra weight, to slow down enough to get there. So it's pretty cool. There was some good air in there, and I don't know.
So you're telling me that he put street tires on to slow the car down enough? Street tires on the front to slow the car down enough to get his own number.
Yeah. So had run all night that way. Yeah.
Man, that's pulling out every trick in the bag, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty impressive to know, to do that. And I'm sure, I think Jonathan said they had put a tire in and taken the tire out of the trunk and all that kind of stuff, just trying to get, that's where it's at, like 20, 30 pounds is where you're trying to move weight around to get that number.
See, this is
That's
exactly how I ended up in unlimited.
right. I just want to go all out. Rich Keto here says that Rovic and the Yellow Olds made a ton of passes. Well, I think Rovic made, I almost guarantee that he made 12 or 13 passes on Thursday night.
Wow.
He was really wanting a 9 on the mountain. It was close, like a 10. I think you're at 10-13 or 10-0 or something like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild. I don't know how many.
Oh, dude, every time I looked up from my pit, Rovic was down there trying to make a hit. That guy was on it.
Yeah. Yeah, he turned in a 10-17, so he didn't get close enough. But I know he wanted to make a 9 on the mountain, and there was somebody else that was chasing the number up there too, but I can't remember. They were
Like,
real close.
What's Rovic's weight? That car's got to be like 3,400 pounds.
No way. There's no way that car's that light. That Yellow Olds, I bet that thing weighs 3,800 pounds.
Oh,
Got to.
I don't know. I found out apparently that the Honda Rado, the Honda powered Silverado,
Huh?
way lighter than I thought.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm no longer good at guessing weights.
Yeah. Yeah. That truck, long bed, regular cab OBS with a K swap in it, right? A turbo. It was like 3,150 pounds with the boot in it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
way
That's lighter
what
than
they
my
thought.
car.
It's got half the motor, man.
Dude, Dylan and Kyle killed it, man. Those dudes were having the time of their life the entire week.
Yeah, they had a good time. They got a wheelie out of the truck that night.
Really?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It wasn't a big one, but like, hey, that tire cracked if they had front runners on it, it'd have got at least 3 inches off the ground. But it was probably like 1.5 or 2. So,
Nice.
Dude, and I met those guys at the pre-party, and I literally walked past the truck, and then somebody else says, "Hey, go look at that again." And we went back, and I'm like, "Oh, no joke, that's a Honda."
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I met them, and then hung out with them throughout the week. I'm not a Honda fan by any means, but that was like the coolest swap that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a pretty neat setup. They had it was a small turbo on that deal, but they did a adapter to like a Nissan 350Z Trans. So it really has my mind spinning. We bought that Morris or the Hillman wagon for my daughter. I'm like, man, maybe she needs a stick shift and a turbo K series, making about 400. I don't know. We'll see.
Man, they fought the Trans almost all week.
Wow.
Like, it was kind of the weak point of the setup almost.
Well, dude, he was doing wheelies in a long bed Chevrolet truck.
With a Honda motor.
For the Trans now.
We'll have to get with them, but I'm pretty sure they had the Trans out like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, wow. What was the motivation behind that swap? Does anyone know?
To be different.
Just to be different?
Yeah.
Man, they're different. There's no doubt about that.
Dylan, the guy that owns the truck, had a full LS swap to go into it, but then he's like, "Hey, what if we did this?"
Huh.
Yeah.
And then Kyle built him a motor, and they put it together, and they're like, "All right, let's see what happens."
That's cool.
I have a buddy who I got my Fox body from, who's doing a Turbo K in a C6 Corvette right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Pictures.
What's that?
That's wild.
I said pictures. I want to see it.
I do have pictures of it. I've got a video on 815 YouTube of doing a walk around at his shop looking at it.
Dude, I want to see that. That would be awesome. An unconventional chassis with an unconventional motor sounds amazing.
That's actually how I started my YouTube channel, is because I started helping him with his, and then I was like, this is kind of fun, but I do LS swaps, and you're doing the complete opposite. You took an LS out and put in a K, so then I ended up starting my channel. But yeah, he's still working on it. He's got that same adapter plate. I forget what company makes it, but they make an adapter plate for it to mount to GM transmissions.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. We've thought about that too.
It's like
I don't know.
like total anarchy in the swap world right now.
Yeah. There's so much going on. What is happening here? What
They
happened
just
to the blocks?
They rev so high too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he was shifting to like 72 or 7400.
Isn't that what you shift at, Jason?
Yeah, well, actually we're shifting right around 76. On that 200-mile-an-hour pass, I think we came across the line about $8,000.
Wow. In a big block, dude.
On a
That's
big
so
block
cool.
Chevy.
Yeah. That's so
Some
cool.
RPM, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've got to get back to it. I want to say thank you both for coming in here. Jason, congratulations for all your
Hey, thank
personal
you.
bests and winning and dude, I mean you and Tom McGilton are the only folks that have been 3 times fastest overall at a race week or Rocky Mountain event. So that's pretty cool, man.
Cool stats, Michael. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but it's pretty neat that,
No,
that
I think
we get to call you friend and that you're one of those dudes that's done it. So
appreciate you guys.
yeah. All right, man. Thanks.
Maybe we'll see you in South Carolina.
Oh, you threatened me, bud.
Bet you won't.
Scotty, thanks a bunch, dude. Appreciate it, man. Get back to work. We're going to cover some.
Like, slow down. I'll see you later.
All right. See ya.
All right. See ya.
Awesome. I'm glad those guys came in, and I've been messaging with Redwood Rally here a little bit. He's trying to get through some security. He's on a trip, so if he can bounce through that, then he's going to jump in for a minute. But we got to get back to our stuff again. Congratulations to Jason. That's so awesome to see all of his success and is well earned. I mean, that guy works very, very hard and really just eats up as much as he can with all that, and it's amazing. So, all right, let's talk back to the streets. Sorry, congratulations to Scotty too, taking a car that has been around for so long and that can just complete the week and end up 4th in the 9.0 class was really cool. But considering it's a 10.0, he should have raced 10.0. But again, he wouldn't have been able to go all out. He could have made those passes, but if you can one and done and run your best, that's the way to do it. That's the bit of tidbit of knowledge I want to give out there. If you can one and done and get your number, get on the road, make those hard passes your last day. Make 8 passes your last day unless you're in the hunt for the win. But before we get into that, I want to say thanks again to all of our race car friends. I see people posting in there and making comments. I want to say thank you very much, guys. If you'll hit the share button for us one more time before we get into this last bit of stuff, we would appreciate that. Yeah, we can't do this without you guys motivating us. It's really cool to see all the comments and people thinking about stuff that we hadn't even thought of, as we go into these stats for the year and all the list updates and things like that. Any extra motivation is always welcomed. And again, thanks to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. It's so cool to see people getting in behind this that are behind events, but also behind us and spreading the word in the news. We're, like I've said since the beginning, we're taking Drag-N-Drive mainstream. I'm going to talk about Drag-N-Drive until people are excited as I am about it, or they're gonna block me. So, anyways, let's get back to the streets again. Congratulations to the winners of Back to the Streets. Sean Fensler in Hard Tire in his Turbo LS Colorado. Dave McKenna in the True Street. Thank you for letting me ride with you. That was a really cool experience. Matt Walter won the stick shift in his naturally aspirated 3rd gen Camaro. That was really cool. And then Austin Sanchez in his Turbo LS 3rd gen Camaro won small tire. And then after the event was over, so that was the Drag-N-Drive portion of the event. Since he had the track for so long that day, Matt also ran a small tire no prep shootout, which is really cool. It's like, I don't know if there was anything that was set up for like car rules, but I don't feel like there was with the mix of cars that were there. So we were still back at the track, which is really neat because we were already set up. There were Matt made the entry to the small tire shootout free for the racers of the Drag-N-Drive, which I thought was really neat. And that allowed them to, have a little bit of a leg up on the racers that were coming in because there were no test passes other than what you had done in your eliminations earlier in the day for the Drag-N-Drive group. So they at least had data or a feeling of the road, And so we're back at the track. It's no prep again. Nobody, it was pour your own puddle. Sorry, it wasn't no prep. It was pour your own puddle, which again was a new experience for me. Guys running around splashing puddles under the car. Stripper glitter was donated. They donated a gallon for each lane, which is really cool for the event. So that was neat. And then there was just a lot of different kind of cars there. I mean, obviously everything's on a small tire, 25, 10, 5, 28, 10, 5, no W, that kind of stuff. But there was a Ford Falcon with no front end on it, which was really cool. There was brand new builds there's like a S10 with a twin turbo LS setup in it that Matt Walter ended up beating in the first round, which is really cool to see that because Matt should have never beat that guy. I mean, that car should way outdo him, but it didn't, and that's why no prep is so good because Matt had some practice on that day. And stick shift in a car takes down a twin turbo auto S10 was pretty neat. I'm working on the video for that. I want to, it's really back burner stuff to what we typically do. So, I'm going to work drag week and then I'll be able to break down some more back to the streets videos and talk a little more in depth. I was really trying to get through at least the content that I had for that event before I got to race week. So I'm going to go back through and talk through some of that stuff and everything like that. It was really neat. We raced that morning or kind of up until about 1 o'clock with the elimination style stuff for Back to the Streets Drag-N-Drive. And then we did the Back to the Streets shootout there. And Austin Sanchez was out, I think, first round or maybe second round with a huge wheelie. Like, I hope my camera got it because I know at one point I'm zoomed in on the tire and I'm standing kind of by the wall and the entire tire is above the wall. Like, huge wheelie in the close lane to me. So I hope I got that wheelie because it was big. So he buys back in, ends up winning the buyback race, which was really cool to have a Drag-N-Drive racer do that. Alex Chudd went deep into the rounds. I think he went 3 rounds of 5 in a regular cab short bed twin turbo Coyote Ford pickup F-150 brand new that was 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, or I don't know how those trucks were configured, but it was pretty cool, man. They actually went. It was fast, and it had hood stacks, which is kind of my favorite, especially for doing twins. It kind of comes straight up. So that was pretty cool. Trying to think of anything else that was really wild. There was some really, really nice cars. Michael Borgren in the Volvo was there. That was pretty neat to see him. I hadn't seen him all year, and to get to hang out with him. I guess I saw him at Sick Week, but to see him and to get to hang out, he's got the new huge wing on the back of that Volvo. Like I don't know, it's another 2.5, 3 feet off the back of the car. So that was cool to see him. I think he went out second round. And so Drag-N-Drive cars are taking over, man. They were running around a bunch of that other stuff. So let's move on to race week content because that was the most recent one. That's the one that's kind of in my brain still. So I'm working through. I think I only took about 400 videos on the big camera and 300 or 400 on my phone from race week compared to the 1,500 that I took on drag week because I was there a shorter time because I was back to the streets. So I want to say thanks to Matt and June. The hospitality they offer is amazing. They took me in, I mean, obviously I was coming in late, didn't have any content leading up except for what we talked about here. So it's really cool to have them just say, come on in, whatever you need, we'll get it. So media throughout the week, it was pretty cool to be able to get into the tracks and show up like that. So I want to say thanks to Adam Dory, the announcer, for the shout outs during the week while I was there. I was kind of helping in the background with some of the stats and things like that and who needed to run what, especially on Thursday to lock in their placements. Race week does it a little different. You lock in your spot on Thursday, but you still have to make the drive on Friday. So there were actually like 20 cars that technically finished their passes, but then couldn't make the drive from Denver to Pueblo. So that's a really interesting way to run it because you still have to, break the beams or show up to the staging lanes. That's how they did it at Pueblo this year because they were getting the track ready. So you had to get there because then they do all the shootouts. So they do like a bracket race. They do, the top 8, the quickest 8. They do the next quickest 8, and then the next quickest 16, and then a bracket for everybody else. So that was pretty cool. I want to say congratulations to Carlos Astor and Nick Robinson for finishing. This is a big deal because they're kind of like David Armentrout and Paul Powell. This is their first Rocky Mountain event to finish since Rocky Mountain Race Week 2020. So, like since June of 2020, they've raced in each event, but haven't finished. So, congratulations to them. That's like 6 events in a row that they were not able to finish. So, congratulations. He's definitely got that car hopefully figured out now. Ends up winning the NA Big Block class, so that was cool. Not only did he finish, but he also won the class. So that was pretty cool with a 9.729 average. Best pass of the week is a 9.453 on day 1. So, and that's Carlos always has a fast car, but he can't always make the valve train work for what he wants. And a couple that I know he changed out at least one rocker arm on Wednesday or Thursday. I'd have to look at when I took the picture. But that's they did that to stay in competition and end up working for him. Azim Sheik and his co-pilot came literally sliding in. It was like 9:52 on Thursday night. I bet they drove up the side road at probably 45 miles an hour, and the first spot they pull into was right by us. Or the first open spot they pull in is literally by us. So I grabbed the camera, and I mean, in 4 minutes, maybe 5, maybe they had the car changed over. They were throwing stuff out of the car because they had to make a pass or they were going to be out of competition. Had the transmission out of the car the day before, working to get it there, get it rebuilt, get all the stuff going. I mean, like literally slid into the lanes with 2 minutes left. Makes his pass, doesn't even shut the car off, drives all the way back around and back into the lane so he can get his best pass of that day, which is 1 of 2. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Turbo LS Camaro. And you would figure the first pass you're gonna make is gonna be an easy one. Dude, he sat on the 2-step for probably, I don't know, 15 seconds. Bah, 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 bah. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, go, dude, go. What are you doing? You're going to break it right here. But it didn't. It made it, and it ended up making it to the end of the week, too. Made it back to Pueblo. So pretty cool to do. And he did it both laps. I got both of them on camera. So that's one of my first videos I plan to edit for my race week content. And then, we see a lot of father-son teams, dad and son driving and racing and all that kind of stuff. But we don't see a lot of father-son competitors. So Brad Thiessen and Blaine Thiessen, we all know Blaine, who has the Turbo LS Nissan truck. Brad has a super nice 70 Nova, but they raced and they were 1 and 2 in their class in Ultimate Radial.
That's
so
cool.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I wish my dad and I had raced, next to each other, or as we were growing up. So that was pretty cool. I'm sure a huge memory for Blaine. But Dad laid the smack down, beat him by more than 0.7 of a second on the average. So congratulations to Brad. Sometimes you got to smack your son around and let him know what's going on. Obviously, we talked to Jason Hurley a little bit ago. The 7029 at 200, almost 201 miles an hour. That's just awesome, man. To know that, and at Bandimere, I'm going to do some more research and see what's the fastest pass. That may be one of the fastest passes at Bandimere ever. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to have to do some digging after we get through the world champion stuff. But that is definitely on my list. And we talked about Rovic earlier. Somebody made a comment about him in the olds. This is his 4th national Drag-N-Drive event for the 2023 season. It's pretty crazy. That dude lives in the Yukon and has to go home after each of these. Now I don't know if he went home between drag week and race week, but he's still got to get that car around and get it, store it somewhere and get home and come back and all that. So he had a co-pilot this time. I can't remember her name, but she helped a lot, and I almost bet I know he made at least 12 passes. If Greg made 9, Rovic made 12, maybe 15 passes on Thursday night. So he was really hunting that 9-second pass, just couldn't get the car to cooperate to get there. And then one of the last stories I've got is Stephen and Blake with the Stephen Narks, my brother, and Blake Bowman, his co-pilot, struggled with the MG. They had something break every day. Every day.
Wow.
They won the drive from Pueblo to Kearney. They broke the trailer hitch. Like 2 hours into the trip, Juggernaut Welding come by, fish plated it, saved them, got them back on the road. The next day, they broke the turbo and just like smoked the bearings in it. It was glowing red hot. So they had to find a turbo to borrow, change all of that. Tyler Maggart, who runs Cruise and Lose, let them borrow a turbo. They got them to Bandamere barely. As they're pulling into Bandamere, the trailer breaks again at a different point on the tongue. So now they have to do that. They could drive 9 miles an hour for like, I think it was 9 miles an hour for 10 miles is as fast as they could drive. So pretty crazy there. They ended up getting it repaired at the shop. And then the turbo they had borrowed was way too big, but they had already, like they had to find a V-band to a T4 flange and weld up all this stuff, weld the exhaust housing or the exhaust pipe to get a new setup on it so it would work with that turbo. So they get all that fabbed. Then Steven ends up finding one on Facebook Marketplace, gets it swapped over, takes the V-band to T4 adapter off, has to cut back the exhaust, re-weld stuff on. It was the craziest time for them. We'll have to have him on to talk about all the stuff they did for that. And then, excuse me, but once he got back to it, he got back into the 13. So that was kind of cool. And then Rich Guido here's talking about Rovik saying he is also doing Death Week. So that'd be 5 national Drag-N-Drive events for 2023 for Rovik. NHRA stock here says you've got some competition for craziest Canadian. That's for sure. That is for sure. Rovik's a great dude too. Always is smiling. Always very, 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 very smart. And you can see him like he's working through stuff. When I'm trying to talk to him, he's working through how he's going to go faster and all that. So
that's cool.
Yep. And then I want to say thanks to Greg Jones for letting me ride from Denver to Pueblo with him. That was really cool. And the Nova made amazing foreground shots with all the mountains in the back. So there was one point where I wasn't even taking pictures because it was so pretty. Like, yeah, dude, Colorado was amazing. It was really cool.
The one album was almost all pictures of scenery.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I can't wait to see Chris Story's photos and Jesse Fox. Jesse Fox had a spot set up. We come around this, I don't know, I want to say mountainside. It was really like probably a huge hill, but more of a mountainside, right? So you kind of come around and it literally opens up into everything. Like there's just this huge flat valley area that was amazing to see. And here's Jesse Fox set up right down there at the bottom. I mean, it was really cool. And then Roadrunner Media was down the road a little bit from him. So I know there's going to be a ton of photos that are going to come from Race Week this year that, of stuff we've never seen. There was, like I said, a lot of racers that had never been to the Rocky Mountains that just do Race Week like we do, that's typically Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, So that's pretty cool. And then Rocky Mountain is obviously again coming to this part of the country, I guess, for 2024. And then, back on Greg, he finished second in the 12.0 index. And on the last day, ran the 12.002 to lock in his spot on Thursday night. So, and he said he made 9 passes. So,
wow.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. We had a couple really neat route stops. The one where I took the picture with my shirt off, that was a good one. That was a cool one. That was in Fairplay, Colorado, which is South Park. So looks like I got a message here from Redwood Rally. Not going to be able to make it. The airport is not cooperating. So they'll be on next week. We'll talk to them next week to keep up all this, because we definitely have to get a recap of that. Maybe have one of their racers on. A lot of new racers in the Redwood Rally event this year. I think probably like 7 or 8 that were repeat race, like Drag-N-Drive racers, and so the rest of them are going to be all new. So it's really cool to see, the West Coast get some love and get all these new racers into that. So
Well, I definitely got to say you killed it with the photos. That was a lot of fun editing those photos that you took. You got pretty creative on some of them, so
Yeah.
definitely a good job on that. That was a lot of fun for me being here at home, not
Yeah.
being there, and actually being able to help with something and kind of seeing all those pictures before they got posted was a lot of fun.
Well, and it was really cool for you to have you doing that because then I didn't have to worry about any of the extra stuff. So Jason Harris says, don't forget about the Narcs and story photo at the Buffalo Bill Museum. Yeah, so can is that in the album? Because this is a great story. So we're cruising around with the we're walking around the Buffalo Bill Museum, and in for the bathrooms, it literally it's like this arrow at the ground. So I'm gonna pull up in the photos here and see if we can see if we've
I
got it.
don't know if I remember seeing that photo. Do you remember it getting posted?
I don't remember.
What day would that have been?
It doesn't look like it's in here, but it was great. So let me jump over. Let me see if it's in. Jason, did you post that in the group chat? Maybe. Trying to see here. Yeah. So essentially, we're standing there, and of course, we're like a bunch of 12-year-olds, and so there's a. It's
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, there's pictures at the ground. Oh, no, no, it's not in here. Dang. Man, I
I'm
don't
pretty
remember.
sure I'm pretty sure Chris posted it though.
He may have. Let's see. It's a good one, but essentially we're standing there and it's like we're both Chris Story and I are both urinating in the on the ground, but I'm looking at an inappropriate spot of his body.
Crossing streams.
Yeah, crossing streams is probably the best way to word that. I don't see it in Chris's photos either.
I
Dang.
seen it posted somewhere.
That's funny. It's probably on the Rocky Mountain Race Weekers page. But yeah, we need to go back and it's posted on the Meltdown Firebird page. So guys, if you're not following the Meltdown Firebird, you need to do that on Facebook because that also helps Jason with future sponsorships. We need that for him as many as we can get, because we want to see him keep up his domination. Yeah, here I'll get it. I'll pull it up here.
Are you getting okay?
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause there's another good one in here too. Sorry, almost there, guys. So again, this is Chris Story and I standing there at the now the bathroom. What you don't know is like to your right, but when you turn the corner, you don't see that, right? So you just see the in there, but you can also see. I'm looking inappropriately at something of his. Not really, not really. But this is a great story here too. Jesse Fox had struggles in the Volvo, which is not something new to Jesse Fox. We usually have to fix something during a trip, which is it's the way you live as a nomad. Most of the time he's traveling 25, 30,000 miles a year in this whole in Benny the Volvo. 3G Videos, his YouTube channel as well. But this one here, thank you to Juggernaut Welding, which you can see in the background there. They actually had a cooler with all of the ice melted, and we used that to literally fill up the water in Jesse's car. It had no water in it, so we had to use the cooler because we were out of bottled water to try and get down the hill. So this is actually at Red Rocks. If you haven't been there, it's beautiful. What is right in front of us is another hill. If you go over that hill is Bandamere. So it's pretty crazy that Bandamere sells because of all the stuff, but Red Rocks, nope, didn't sell Red Rocks. Anyways. But yeah, we filled it up with that, and I want to say thanks to Juggernaut Welding for having that on there as well. That was really cool to do that and hang out with them. And I actually was talking to them about their YouTube channel, so they're going to start pushing that a lot harder. And I rode his kids, who are the ones that are running the channel for them. I was pushing them pretty hard to keep posting stuff. So you guys should see a lot more from them. So again, people need to follow the Meltdown Firebird on Facebook, 3G Video on Facebook and YouTube, and then Juggernaut Welding on all social media stuff. So cool. Well, with Redwood Rally not coming on tonight, I think it's probably the show, right?
I think so. I think we covered just about everything.
Yeah. We'll be live again Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for the Drag-N-Drive News, which is a 30-minute episode, guys. We're going to run through some stuff pretty fast, some stuff that I didn't get to talk about tonight that definitely want to talk about. Again, World Champion updates. We'll have some stuff. I'll have a list of if there will be any Aussies that will be on the top 10 list. We'll talk about that. And I should have some more stuff from maybe regional updates and 10-second list, 9-second list. We'll have a new top 100 that will drop most likely Friday. I've got to get through the rest of this, and that's a whole nother animal in itself to sort all of those names and all that, and to make sure there's no duplicates in there. So, anyways, we'll get that updated as I can, and as we do that, you can find all that on dragondrive.com. And all of our social media. I mean, like we're everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And for the folks that are still watching, I just want you to know we crossed 91,000 followers across all social medias this week, which is pretty amazing to me that there's 91,000 people out there in the world that care about what we want to put out. And we'll say thank you to them. And we've had some big pushes in videos lately, and we'll talk about some of that on some of our successes. Obviously Eric's success with being a top percentage content creator on Facebook's a huge deal, dude. So that's pretty awesome. We'll talk about kind of some strategy around that and cram all that into 30 minutes, and then I'm going to go take off and go watch the streetcar shootout put on by 301 Streetcars at Mocan Dragway on Saturday.
All right. Hey, and you should take some good photos while you're there, because we'll get more photos posted.
Yes. Yep. And there's a lot of Drag-N-Drive racers that are there. 301's a huge Drag-N-Drive family. So pretty cool. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.